And if the NFL is back, so is the GOAT. The GOAT, the guy that you've counted out time and time again, was back on the field last night and in total control of that game last night. My man was putting on an absolute clinic, playing at the highest level, absolutely dominating fools. When this guy steps on the field, you know exactly what's going to happen. It's a foregone conclusion. Nobody should be surprised. Nobody should be shocked. Of course, I'm talking about Vita Vea. Who else did you think that I'd be talking about? Did you not see this guy? Because if you didn't, do yourself a favor and watch that game again and just focus on number 50 in the middle for the Bucs. This dude is an absolute freak of nature. In a league of athletic freaks, he is an outlier, one of one. So post up in your man cave or wherever you watch ball, put that game back up and just watch the big man go to work. Because there is nothing like it. Because there is nobody like him. Because he was just bullying the Cowboys on the inside, ragdolling fools, bull rushing them, treating grown-ass men like children. This was Vita Vea's approach last night. Put a hand in the dirt, put a dude on skates. Repeat 50 more times. And I do mean a hand, because I'm not sure there's anything scarier in the NFL than a guy who is listed at 6'4", and maybe a burger short of 350, showing up to play with bare hands. No gloves, no braces, no tape, nothing. Bare hands. And just mauling and embarrassing and humiliating guys. Again, like a grown-ass man throwing around and abusing a bunch of high schoolers. And when he's not bullying guys on defense, he is trucking fools on offense and enabling his team to pick up key first downs. Generally, that is what happens when a train hits a person, the person goes backwards. Hey, remember, trains can't stop. The most predictable thing in sports was the Bucs picking up that first down in the fourth quarter. No way that was not happening with that big man leading the way. Next time, if you really want to get nice, find somebody to block for him. Let the big dude tote the rock himself. And if the Bucs picking up that first down was the most predictable thing ever, then the second most predictable thing ever was Tom Brady showing up the way he did. I know. He's older than dirt. And he has turned into maybe the most cringy dude on the planet with his heavily crafted social media cheese. And now you can't go a single commercial break without seeing this dude. But you got to tip your hat, right? You don't have to like that guy, but you have to respect that guy showing up at 44 years old and passing for 379 yards and 4 TDs in the season opener. Like, I've said it before, I'll say it again right now. Tom Brady is done when Tom Brady says he's done and not a moment before that. Because it wasn't just that he threw for nearly 4 bills last night. It's that he threw 50 times. And yes, a couple of those throws were chucked into the sideline at the end of waste time. But that arm, man, that guy's arm is still good. Damn good. Really, really good. In fact, I'm not sure that old man has ever looked better than he looks right now. Like, I am blown away. This dude at 44 has lost nothing. Nothing. I mean, this dude is nice. How nice? Like, I'm thinking of giving up nightshades and having some avocado ice cream myself. Nice. How can I or anybody else ever clown this guy's act or lifestyle or diet or training or nutrition ever again when he's doing what he's doing at 44? Now, I'm not saying that he's not cringy as hell, because he is. I'm not saying I didn't like this guy a hell of a lot more before he opened his mouth and figured out how to use his phone, because I did. Because this particular version is corny and boring as hell, and not nearly as interesting or as cool or as funny as he seems to think he is. And his complaints about jersey numbers are still the dumbest thing ever. I mean, did dude really look like he was having any trouble identifying Leonard Fournette wearing number 7 last night? Yeah, no, I don't think. And yes, you've got announcers fawning all over this guy all day, every day. And that's almost as tedious as the cringy dude himself. I mean, I kept waiting for Jim in Fall River to finally make his triumphant return last night and demand, for the love of God, will you networks please curtail the amount of extreme close-ups on one Thomas Brady? And then chase that by saying that he's tired of the announcers remarking about the intense stare of Tommy. Tommy in a zone of concentration. Tommy with the eyes of a competitor. No.
God, would you networks please curtail the amount of extreme close-ups on one Andrew Pettit? I watched the playoffs last year. It's like every time this guy started, the camera crew shot the game like it's some kind of David Lynch movie with the camera zoomed 4 inches from Pettit's nostrils. It's like 36 times in a 7-inning span you hear the announcer remark on the intense stare of Andy. Andy in his zone of concentration. Andy with the eyes of a competitor. No. Let me help the novice baseball fan that only tunes in for the playoffs, okay? Andy Pettit pitches with his mouth agape, and he has the eyes of a goat, okay? I give him credit. He's a mean lefty. He's got a wicked sinker. But just because he glares at Posada like he's trying to burn a hole through Jorge's eyebrows with his mind doesn't necessarily mean he's any more focused than the other 8 a-holes wearing pinstripes on the field.
Find me a better call to a radio program ever. And again, Alvin, I know I've asked you this a million times. Tell me again what year that guy made that call. 2002. That call was made virtually 20 years ago and holds up as well as any call that I could take today. No! Folks, though, however, back to Brady, just seem to completely lose their mind for the old man no matter what he does, and it happens time and time again. I mean, let's face it, it's a nice adjustment by a couple of guys who played together for like 50 years, right? They know each other. Let's not sleep on the fact also that that was a pretty terrible play call by the Cowboys. I mean, let's rush everybody and have DeMarcus Lawrence try to cover Rob Gronkowski in the red zone. Yeah, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Again, great adjustment by Brady and Gronk. Let's not act like they just reinvented the game right there. It was a good adjustment to a terrible look from Dallas. The crazy thing about what Brady is doing, though, was not that play. And it was not the other 3 TD passes. It was the fact that when he took the field, trailing with 1:24 left in the game, everybody knew that game was over. You knew Brady had too much time. You knew even with 1 timeout, he was just going to walk right down that field and win that game. It's a fact. Like, that's who that guy is. That's what he does. It's just a matter of who he does it with. Because dude still has a bleep ton of weapons, and he uses every last one of them. He did it with a pass to Gio Bernard. He did it with a couple of passes to Rob Gronkowski. And then, of course, he went back to Chris Godwin. Yeah, I'm not going to say there was a push-off there. I'm not going to say that because I don't have to. That was one of the most obvious things ever. My guy, Nickel Roby Coleman, couldn't believe that they didn't call PI there. And I know they don't want to call offensive pass interference there, but that's pretty funny given that the refs could not get involved enough in that game for the first 59 minutes, but then suddenly vanish on that play. So if you're a Tom Brady hater, how pissed were you seeing that? Why don't you throw a flag? Why does this guy always get away with that crap? So if you're one of those folks who's sick of hearing about Tom Brady, sick of seeing him on TV and social media, sick that he's now showing up in all these new commercials, then I would imagine last night was pretty much a puke fest for you. My best advice, rehydrate, food, get some recovery jammies, get some rest, and get ready to keep puking all year long. Because this dude's lost nothing. And he and the Bucs aren't going anywhere. Don't believe me? Tampa Bay had 4 turnovers, and they still won that game. And I know the secondary looked a little shaky after Sean Murphy bunting went out, but it'll get better. The Bucs are going to keep getting better. You know, to use the famous line from Brady, we've got a few things to clean up. And, you know, Brady is just going to continue to lock in, dial in, and make everybody around him better. I know a lot of you are waiting for this guy to fall right off a cliff or get his comeuppance. Father Time is undefeated. And those things are going to happen to this guy, I think, at some point. Just not yet. Not yet. If you were waiting for him to show up last night as that proverbial shot fighter who can no longer pull the trigger, that didn't happen, man. That guy looked great. I know a lot of you are waiting for that day when he shows up with that noodle arm, like Pinky, and gets blasted repeatedly by opposing pass rushers. Like he can't get it out. Like he's got no arm. You're going to have to wait a little longer. In fact, it looks like, based on last night, you're going to have to wait at least another year. Because if last night was any indication, Thomas, Edward, Patrick, Brady, JR is doing just fine.